6 to 10 inches of snow for New York City, up to a quarter-inch of ice for Pennsylvania and Maryland. And that's just the first storm. Because what's developing over the next 2 weeks is a pattern that meteorologists are calling a snowstorm assembly line. One system after another, marching across the eastern United States like soldiers in formation. At minute 3:10, I'm going to reveal why some models are showing nearly 2 feet of total snow accumulation for parts of the Midwest and Northeast over the next 14 days. And by minute 5, you'll understand the 3 Arctic blast sequence that's going to create the perfect environment for these repetitive snowstorms. Let me start with the number that should get your full attention: 18 inches. That's the highest snow report from Lewiston, Maine, from the storm that just finished. 18 inches in one event, and we're about to see multiple events of similar or greater magnitude. This isn't one snowstorm season. This is snowstorm season on steroids. Right now, on Christmas Eve, we're watching the tail end of one system clear out of New England. But even as that storm exits, the next one is already organizing over the upper Midwest. And there's a third one behind it, and possibly a fourth one after that. Welcome to what meteorologists call an active winter pattern. And when patterns like this establish, they can persist for weeks. But before we talk about what's coming, let me tell you about what's happening right now that most people aren't paying attention to. Southern California is experiencing catastrophic flooding, 10 inches or more of rain near Los Angeles, landslides, debris flows, entire communities cut off. When the West Coast gets hammered like this, it's often a signal that the jet stream is in a configuration that favors active weather nationwide. What hits California today reorganizes and hits the East Coast in 3 to 5 days. That's exactly what's happening right now. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, Scripture tells us there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Right now, we're entering the season for snow, real snow, repetitive snow. The kind of winter that people will remember and talk about for years. The question is, are you ready for it? Let me walk you through the first major storm, the one that's going to impact the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast on December 26th, Boxing Day. Tonight, Christmas night, snow and ice begin developing across northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. The upper peninsula of Michigan sees snow, but lower Michigan, that's where the ice develops. And ice is more dangerous than snow in many ways. Central and southern Michigan could see significant ice accumulation. When ice coats roads, they become skating rinks. When ice accumulates on power lines and tree branches, the weight brings them down. Power outages are highly likely across lower Michigan by Friday morning. But Michigan is just the opening act. By Friday afternoon, December 26th, the storm really gets going for Pennsylvania, New York, and the rest of the Mid-Atlantic. Freezing rain begins falling across western Pennsylvania, western New York, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. By 4 p.m. Friday, it's coming down steadily. Roads are becoming treacherous. Travel is becoming dangerous. Meanwhile, heavy snow develops from the Finger Lakes region of New York through northeastern Pennsylvania, then into northern New Jersey, Long Island, and New York City. And here's where this gets really interesting. The models are in disagreement about exactly where the bullseye of heaviest snow sets up. The European model, which is often one of the more reliable models, shows the heaviest snow a bit further north, more focused on New York State, Connecticut, and Long Island. New York City sees some snow, but not the jackpot amounts. The NAM model, a high-resolution short-range model, shows 6 to 10 inches straight through northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, and right into New York City. This is a classic setup for a major snowstorm in the I-95 corridor. But then there's the RRFS model. This is the model that's set to replace the NAM in March, and it shows a much further south solution. 6 to 10 inches through central Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, and into southern and central New Jersey. This southern solution would bring significant snow to Philadelphia and potentially even impact Baltimore. So which model is right? Here's the truth. We don't know yet. Storm track can shift 20 to 30 miles in either direction in the final 12 to 24 hours before the event. What we do know is that someone in the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast is going to get crushed with 6 to 10 inches of snow Friday night into Saturday morning. We just can't say with absolute certainty yet exactly who. If you live anywhere from Pennsylvania through New York through southern New England, you need to be prepared for significant snow. Don't assume it's going to miss you just because one model shows it 20 miles away. 20 miles is nothing in winter storm forecasting. Now let me talk about the ice, because this is equally concerning and maybe more dangerous. The National Weather Service is forecasting a tenth to a quarter inch of ice accumulation for large portions of Pennsylvania and Maryland. Northwestern Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, and much of Maryland are in the bullseye. A tenth of an inch of ice makes roads nearly impossible to drive on safely. A quarter inch starts bringing down trees and power lines. This is power outage producing ice. And here's what makes ice particularly insidious. It looks like wet pavement. You can't see it easily, especially at night. People drive at normal speeds thinking the roads are just wet, and suddenly they're sliding out of control. Ice storms cause more multi-car pileups than heavy snow because people don't realize how dangerous conditions are until it's too late. If you're in the ice accumulation zone Friday afternoon and evening, stay home. Don't travel. It's not worth the risk. In Proverbs 22:3, we read, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." Seeing ice in the forecast and choosing to stay home isn't fear, it's wisdom. Now here are the 3 critical actions you must take before Friday morning. Action 1. Assume you're in the impact zone. Even if current forecasts show the heaviest snow or ice 20 or 30 miles away from you, prepare as if you're going to get hit. Because storm tracks can shift. Stock up on food that doesn't require cooking. Fill prescriptions. Get cash from the ATM. Charge all devices. Fill your car with gas. Do all of this before Friday morning. Action 2. Prepare for power outages, especially if you're in the ice accumulation zone. Have flashlights with fresh batteries. Have a battery-powered radio. Have alternative heat sources if your primary heat is electric. Know where your circuit breaker is. Know how to shut off your main water valve in case pipes freeze. Have bottled water stored. These preparations take an hour or 2, but could be critical if you lose power for days. Action 3. Cancel or postpone travel plans for Friday and Saturday. I know this is the day after Christmas. I know many people are traveling home from holiday visits. But Friday is not a travel day. Friday is a stay home and stay safe day. If you absolutely must travel, delay until Sunday when roads are cleared and conditions improve. One extra day with family is better than getting stuck on a highway for 12 hours in a snowstorm or sliding off an icy road. Your life is worth more than getting home one day sooner. Now, let me tell you about what happens after this storm, because the pattern gets even more interesting. Saturday, the 27th, the first storm moves offshore. Cleanup begins, but temperatures are dropping. Arctic air is pouring in behind the storm. By Sunday and Monday, December 28th and 29th, the first Arctic blast arrives. Temperatures crash into the teens and single digits across the Northeast. Wind chills below 0. Everything wet from the storm freezes solid. Lake effect snow cranks up downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario. Buffalo could see feet of snow in narrow bands. Syracuse, Watertown, same story. Then, around December 30th, just before New Year's Eve, another winter storm approaches. This one tracks across the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes before moving into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And here's what's remarkable about this second storm. The models are showing it could undergo bombogenesis. That's when a storm's central pressure drops 24 millibars or more in 24 hours. It's what meteorologists call a bomb cyclone. When storms bomb out like this, they become powerful beasts. Heavy snow, high winds, blizzard conditions, the works. Current model guidance shows this New Year's storm impacting the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Heavy snow for millions of people, wind-driven snow, near blizzard or blizzard conditions in some areas. This is potentially a bigger, more impactful storm than the Boxing Day system. And it's bringing the second Arctic blast with it. This one is even colder than the first. We're talking about temperatures 5 to 10 degrees colder than the first Arctic intrusion. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day could feature some of the coldest temperatures of the entire winter season. Single-digit highs across much of the upper Midwest, teens across the Northeast, wind chills well below zero. If you're planning outdoor New Year's celebrations, dress in serious winter gear. Multiple layers, hat, gloves, scarf, insulated boots. This is legitimate dangerous cold. Then, after a brief moderation in early January, a third Arctic blast appears likely around January 4th or 5th. And this pattern of cold air followed by storms followed by more cold air, that's the assembly line I mentioned earlier. Each Arctic blast creates the cold air mass needed for snow. Each warm-up in between brings moisture. When those two things collide, you get winter storms. And we're seeing this pattern repeat every 3 to 5 days through at least mid-January. The European model is showing total snowfall accumulations over the next 2 weeks that are truly remarkable. The Northern Plains, Upper Midwest, Great Lakes, parts of the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast could see snowfall totals approaching or exceeding 2 feet when you add up all the individual events. 2 feet. That's not from one storm. That's cumulative from multiple systems. But the impact is the same. Roads constantly snow-covered, snowbanks growing higher, salt supplies running low, plow drivers working overtime. This is what sustained winter weather looks like. Now let me talk about something that's getting less attention but could be very significant. The southern slider potential. Twice during the European model run, we see the jet stream configuration suggest the possibility of a storm tracking along the Gulf Coast and up the Atlantic seaboard. These are called southern sliders, or Miller-A storms. When these storms occur, they can bring snow to areas that don't typically see much winter weather. Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, even northern Georgia can get significant snow from southern sliders. We're seeing the ingredients come together on multiple occasions during the next 2 weeks. Now, the models aren't fully developing these systems yet. They're just hinting at the potential. But if you live in the southern mid-Atlantic or upper south, don't completely ignore winter weather potential in early to mid-January. The pattern could support it. Areas from New Mexico through Texas through Oklahoma also need to watch. We're seeing energy in the southern jet stream that could organize into winter weather for those regions as well. Again, nothing is certain this far out, but the pattern has the ingredients. Keep watching. Let me give you a temperature timeline, because understanding when the Arctic blasts arrive helps you prepare. Christmas Day, tomorrow, record warmth across the middle of the nation. 70s and 80s from Texas through the Gulf Coast. Meanwhile, the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast are dealing with far below normal temperatures and a major snowstorm. A tale of two completely different realities happening simultaneously. December 26th through 27th, Arctic air begins filtering into the Northeast behind the first storm. Temperatures drop but aren't extreme yet. December 28th through 29th, first major Arctic blast arrives. Temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal. Single digits and teens common. Wind chills below zero. December 30th through January 1st, second Arctic blast arrives with the New Year's storm. This one is colder than the first, possibly the coldest air of the entire season for some locations. January 2nd through 4th, brief moderation. Temperatures climb back toward normal. A brief reprieve. January 5th through 7th, third Arctic blast arrives. Pattern continues with repetitive cold shots. This up and down temperature pattern is actually ideal for snowstorms. You need the warm air to bring moisture. You need the cold air to make it snow. The transition between the two is where storms develop. That's why we're seeing this assembly line pattern. Now let me address specific cities and what you need to prepare for over the next 2 weeks. New York City. You're looking at 6 to 10 inches from the Boxing Day storm. Then potentially another significant event around New Year's. Then possibly more in early January. Total accumulation over 2 weeks could approach or exceed 2 feet. This is a winter to remember. Philadelphia, you're in that uncertain zone for the first storm. Could be mostly rain, could be significant snow, could be ice. Monitor forecasts closely. Later storms are more likely to bring you significant snow. Boston, you're on the northern fringe of the Boxing Day storm, but could get hit harder by subsequent systems. Don't let your guard down just because the first one might miss you. Baltimore and Washington, D.C., ice is your primary concern Friday, then snow from later systems. You're in a challenging position where each storm could bring snow, ice, or rain depending on exact track. Pittsburgh, you're watching the rain-snow line on every storm. Western suburbs likely stay warmer. Eastern suburbs get more snow and ice. Buffalo, Cleveland, Syracuse, you know what's coming. Lake effect between and after the major storms. January could bury you. Stock up now while you can. Detroit and Lower Michigan, Ice Storm Friday is your immediate concern. Then lake effect. Then major storms. This is a rough stretch. Chicago and Milwaukee, you're getting hit by multiple systems. The repetitive nature means constant cleanup and difficult travel. Minneapolis and northern Minnesota, you're in the bullseye for the New Year's storm, potentially a major blizzard. Prepare accordingly. Now let me talk about the mental and emotional toll of sustained winter weather. When you get storm after storm after storm with Arctic cold in between, it wears on people. The constant shoveling, the difficult travel, the cold, the dark, the disruption to normal routines. This is when seasonal depression can hit hard, when people feel isolated and overwhelmed, when small problems feel like major crises. Check on people regularly through this stretch, not just once, but multiple times, especially elderly people, people who live alone, people who've expressed feeling down. And if you're struggling, reach out, talk to someone, ask for help. There's no shame in admitting winter is hard. In Romans 12:15, Paul writes, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn." Winter gives us opportunities to mourn with those who are struggling and to provide comfort and support. Be that person for someone else. Now let me talk about something practical. Snowblower maintenance. If you have a snowblower, now is the time to make sure it's working. Check the oil, check the spark plug, make sure you have fresh gas, test it. When you're dealing with multiple storms, your snowblower becomes essential equipment. Having it break down mid-season during a major storm is a nightmare. If you don't have a snowblower and you live in the impact zone, consider whether now is the time to get one, or at least line up someone who can help you with snow removal. Multiple feet of snow over 2 weeks is too much to shovel by hand for most people, especially older adults. Also, stock up on ice melt and sand. Supplies run low during active winters. Get what you need now while it's available. Let me talk about travel safety during this pattern. If you must travel during this 2-week period, check forecasts before every trip. Don't assume conditions are good just because they were yesterday. In an active pattern, things change quickly. Always have an emergency kit in your vehicle. Blankets, water, food, flashlight, first aid kit, phone charger, small shovel, sand or kitty litter, jumper cables. Tell someone your route and expected arrival time. Check in regularly. If you get stuck or stranded, stay with your vehicle unless you can see a building nearby. Don't wander off in a storm. Run your engine for heat in 10-minute intervals to conserve fuel and prevent carbon monoxide buildup. Make sure your exhaust pipe isn't blocked by snow. These basics save lives every winter. Let me close with some perspective on what we're experiencing. An active winter pattern with multiple major snowstorms is challenging. It disrupts life. It creates hardship. It tests our resilience. But it's also what winter is supposed to be in much of the country. For years, we've seen mild winters with below-average snowfall. This year, winter is showing up, real winter, the kind that builds character and brings communities together. Face this pattern with courage and preparation. You have what you need to get through this. God is with you. Community surrounds you. You're not alone. In Isaiah 41:10, God says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Winter storms can feel overwhelming, but you're stronger than you think. And you're not facing this alone. Stay informed. Forecasts will update. Storm tracks will shift. New information will emerge. Check forecasts daily, even multiple times per day during active periods. Stay prepared with supplies, backup systems, and contingency plans. The time to prepare is before each storm, not during it. Stay connected to your neighbors, your community, your faith community. We're all in this together. What affects one affects all. and stay faithful. Trust that God walks with you through every storm, that He provides what you need, that He's working even when you can't see how. This is your 2-week winter outlook. Multiple major storms, repetitive Arctic blasts, significant snow accumulations, difficult travel, cold temperatures. But you can handle this. With preparation, with community support, with faith in God's provision, you can weather this pattern successfully. Share this information with others who need to hear it. Check on vulnerable people. Be the hands and feet of Christ in your community. Stay warm, stay safe, stay faithful, and have a blessed Christmas knowing that whatever winter brings, you're ready for it. This is your comprehensive winter weather briefing. Take it seriously, act on it, and know that you're going to be okay. Until the next update, be wise, be kind, be faithful,